All right. Well, I had no plans of doing an extra video this week. It has been quite a busy week between posting Kanye and posting about the daily trials. But if any of you guys have an X account, then obviously you've seen the same thing that I've seen. And I'm like, all right, I have to make a video about this. I gotta get you guys' thoughts. I also have to give my thoughts about this. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Social Club, where everyone has a voice. I'm your host, Jacob Hale, and yes, this is a Elon Musk and Donald Trump video. Something I never thought I would ever make on this platform, but here we are, and I think this is important enough that everyone needs to talk about it. But before I do, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Check out all of our other videos. As you see from all of our other videos, we are not a political channel. We talk about sports, current events, and really just things that are going on in our life, social events that we go to, whether it's football games, basketball games, traveling, all of that stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check out all of our other content that we talk into. There's a lot of things. Lots of content, lots of things out there. We try to post every single day, at least in terms of shorts and reels. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on X, follow us on Facebook. Check us out on Discord, where you can talk to us 24/7. First of all, I do want to read a statement about our page in general. I'd be remiss if I didn't come out with a full statement, but I want to make it clear that the Social Club is an apolitical channel. We do not talk about politics at all. It's really none of our business, in the sense that we really want to make this open for everyone. We want to make this a fun environment. We want us to joke, laugh, talk smack, if it's sports related, everything of that sort, and really build a community within our group. All right. And we felt like that would be impossible to achieve if we made this into a political channel, because it's very extreme. You're either on one side or you're on the other for a lot of people. So I don't want to alienate our side of the audience, spilling out our own personal political beliefs into our group and trying to force an opinion on everyone. Now, I do want your voice to be heard if you are interested, but I want to make that clear that the Social Club is an apolitical channel, and in no way are we favoring one side or telling you should be supporting a certain side. I just want to make that clear. With that being said, let's talk about how we got to this point before I give you my personal. So how I want to break down this video is I want to talk about what happened. I want to give you my critique on the Democratic approach to this. And I want to give you my critique on the Republican approach to this, because we are equal on this platform. And then I want to give you my own personal thoughts on this, because if I have a camera rolling, I think you deserve my personal opinion about this. So as I go into this, let's first start off with how we got here. Now, let's do some quick history here. Obviously, Donald Trump won the election. He hired in Elon Musk to be the head to build his own agency called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiencies, with his goal of cutting down on the waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which, I mean, if anyone's ever been to a DMV, I'm sure there's a lot of waste going on in the government. I think that's pretty straightforward. So that's what he was tasked with, and right, wrong, or indifferent, he did the best that he can. And then he ended up finally stepping down and going back to as many other companies that he ran. So there was a big thing with that, all cheers, everyone's having fun. He got a little key to the White House. All that's great. Now, for what happened a couple weeks, probably about a week ago, and then going into today, is that now that he's left the White House, he's been very adamant of being against the big, beautiful bill that's being presented up to the Senate right now. And when this big, beautiful bill, now I encourage you guys to actually go and look at the bill and actually, get your own sense and get your own opinion of what you think about the bill, because there's pros and cons to both. On one side, you want to look at the positives, there's tax cuts in there, no tax on tips, things of that nature. On the other side, there's questions of, is this enough cutting in the government? Is this adding to the deficit? Is that a good thing? Could you grow your way out of whatever extra money that you're spending on the deficit? All those things to consider, and they're very fair points. But Elon Musk ended up being very against the bill in that nature. One thing led to another, and now this whole thing is spilling out on X, to where Donald Trump, for once in his life, which I will be honest, is taking a pretty low conservative route to how he's responding to this, just saying like, hey, like, I still really like you. I'm not quite sure why you're so adamant against this. I think this bill's great. This will do this, this will do that. And then Elon Musk, taking it to a 10. And the big thing that everyone obviously will want is talking about, and of course I have my opinion on this as well, is addressing that Elon is insinuating that Trump is actually in the Epstein Files, which is why he is reluctant to release them, which is breaking news. Honestly, that is insane. It's insane to even think about. But if you don't know the Epstein Files, please look into it. It's very important. It's similar to the Diddy trials, which is the video that we posted recently. So definitely check that out. But it'll give you a good sense of kind of what the Epstein File is about. It's basically another version of what the whole Diddy thing is, of having these sex orgy parties and stuff, and possibly with minors as well. But in this case, Epstein had his own island that he was sending people, and all the biggest and brightest top elites and everything were going towards. And obviously, there's a lot of strange things regarding him, apparently, ending his life, and a lot of other things with that. So supposedly the federal government has his files and have not released the full information with that yet, for a lot of reasons that they say. And obviously it's a big conspiracy. So that's the basis of what's going on here, is that Elon's very upset with the bill in general. He's attacking Congress, and then eventually floated on to attacking Trump, and then came out with that bombshell to say that Trump is actually in the Epstein list, which would then make him, in a way, guilty of partaking in some of the egregious acts that Epstein was going to be indicted for before he decided to leave this planet. So that's the general synopsis. Got that all out of the way. So let me give you my thoughts let me throw some blame. Okay, and I think this is important. We'll call this constructive criticism. So let's start with the Democratic side. Now, I'm not picking on the Democratic side, to be fair. I have a lot to say about Republicans as well. I just want to give a very balanced take on this. First of all, with the Democrat side, I just have to say is that there's a reason why they are polling as low as they are. You got to stand for something at the end of the day. That is, it's like, maybe not everyone agrees with Democrats' stance, which is why they're not doing well and why they lost the election and everything like that. But one of the main things, one of the problems that I have, is you have to stand for something. You can't. Literally a month or two ago, you were not only firebombing Tesla dealerships, which is blatantly illegal, but more importantly, you were calling this man a fascist. You can't call someone a fascist because you disagree with them. And how do I know it's because of a disagreement? It's because now he's saying things that you agree with or that fits your narrative. Now you're inviting him to do interviews. Now you're saying, let's bring him back to our party and everything like that. Listen, the fascists in the movement with that associated with Germany, there's a reason why it is studied in every single history book, in every single history class for every single country, because it's one of the worst, most diabolical group of human beings to ever be devised. I don't care what anyone says. I will debate you on this because I've actually learned my history on that. They were egregious in their acts. So to throw that blame and call someone else a fascist in that nature, you need to stand on that. That's not a half thing that you can pull back on. It's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. No, you got to go all in on that. So if you hated the guy a couple months ago, you got to hate him now, even though he's saying things that you would agree with. Like, it doesn't work like that. You got to pick a side. You got to decide, what do you stand for, and then stand on it. there's a point to be made about mainstream media with that as well. But if mainstream media was ever curious on why the ratings are going down, then I mean, this is one of the clearest examples of that. Is that people would like to be able to turn on their TV and watch the news and get reliable information. But if you're going to, again, state the claim that Elon Musk is a bad person because you disagree with him, and then a couple months later, because you agree with him, now you're covering him more, giving them positive reviews and saying, oh, hey, maybe we should all buy Teslas again. You know, I have a big problem with that as well. Just from an apolitical perspective, it's like, I don't go to the news for propaganda. Like, that's the point of YouTube channels. The point of a YouTube channel, someone like me, okay, I got the Bears logo here, right? So obviously, it's going to be very hard for me to say bad things about the Bears. So if I have a YouTube channel that is about the Bears, people shouldn't be surprised that I go on there trying to defend the Bears. Like, that's pretty obvious. If I'm on a national network talking about sports, I think it's a disservice if I keep leaning and making excuses for the Bears. That wouldn't be right, because I'm on a national network and I'm talking to a very large audience of people that came there not to just be fans of the Bears, just to get an apolitical, neutral view on sports, for my example. So I don't think anyone in mainstream media is ever going to listen to me. At least I'm not that big yet, but that's just my personal opinion on it. And then for the Republicans, because they deserve some smoke too, you guys are becoming the very thing that you claim to dislike about Democrats, is that you need to hold people accountable. You can't say that you're for this big, beautiful bill, and then now that someone's saying something against it, now you're like, oh, well, maybe we should rethink this. It's like, again, what are your thoughts? And then stand on it. That's really all that anyone can ask for. No one wants someone that's going to flip-flop and stuff. And the Republican Party in general, you know, this isn't sports teams. At the end of the day, politics is not sports teams. Politics is your viewpoint on what you think is best for you, or best for the country, or best for your neighborhood, wherever it is. And then have those principles and then stand on it. But also be in the position to call out not only people on the other side that you disagree with, but people in your own party that you think are doing a disservice. Accountability is the real thing. And any party that masters the art of accountability is going to win the majority of people. People my age, and I'm Gen X, no. Scratch. People my age who are Gen Z, we just want honest, fair, and accountability. That's all we want. Any party. If you are making your own political party, if you are honest, fair, and have accountability, then you're going to get all of the young people. I guarantee it. You're going to get all of the young people. I don't even care what your views are. In a funny way, I don't even think you can have popular views if you're just fair and accountable. I think a lot of people are just going to naturally gravitate towards that. So my smoke on the Republican Party, or let's just say constructive criticism, is that you have to be willing to call out when people are doing things wrong, or people are doing things that's not in the best interest of you and your neighborhood or in the country in general. So if you had a problem with the bill, you should have stated that earlier, that you have a problem with the bill. Don't just like try to come back now that you're getting smoke about it. Like, I don't agree with that either. You're no better than any party that you criticize when you do something like that. And my final point when it comes to the Republican Party is that, okay, now you've rebranded yourself and you're coming in this party of acceptance to say that, oh, we bring in all difference of opinions, all difference of viewpoints and everything like that. Well, okay, then you need to stand on that. You need to be willing to listen to different trains of thoughts and be willing to acknowledge when you're right or wrong on things to then formulate a better cohesive party. This whole thing about, oh, yeah, we're accepting of everyone. And then once after you vote, now you just split up into different fractions again. What was the point of you claiming a party? You might as well just be apolitical at that point. Yeah, you can vote on Republicans sometimes, but if you're not fully down with them, or if you're in that space to where they're going to excommunicate you for having a difference of opinion, then, you're not going to have the same opinion. This isn't a cult. Political parties is supposed to be a collection of people with a similar goal, but it's okay to have different ways of going about it. It's okay to challenge yourself, because that's the only way the party can ever thrive and get better, is that there's actual people that are there to challenge the party on their views and their thoughts and opinions. While I did think the Republican Party has done a great job with that, this is a big example of it. It's that, are we just going to sit here and excommunicate people that are for and against your viewpoints? Or are you going to keep them all in-house and be like, okay, I respect your opinion. This is what I think here and there. All right, let's grow together. Let's find common ground. So now that I've talked smacked on both sides of the party, I'm sure they both hate me now at this point. But it's okay, because we're not that big yet. You guys can change that by definitely following and subscribing below, and for sure commenting, because I do really enjoy the comments and the conversation. But now I'm actually going to get to my personal thoughts on this. So my personal thoughts, number one, I want to say who's the biggest loser in this. The biggest loser is obviously the mainstream media, but I think that's pretty obvious. I think they're doomed regardless of what they do. The problem is they can't get out of their own way. It's pretty simple. It's that if the more neutral you are, the more views you're really going to get. We're not there for propaganda. We're not there. It's not a prep rally, you know? Like, we're not there to just cheer on one side. We want to hear actual factual news and analysis and stuff. So mainstream media is definitely failing on this, because, again, you can't keep flip-flopping viewpoints just to try to stir the masses up, right? Like, you can't do that. People notice this. The biggest winner on this, I actually think the biggest winner on this is the American people. Now, hear me out on this. I think the biggest winner is the American people. And part of the reason why is that this is the only time in my lifetime I ever seen people this involved in the politics. Not only from people my age, Gen Z, but also above, of everyone that's staying engaged in politics after the election season. I think this is a big bonus for the American people, and this is very positive moving forward, because at the end of the day, it is about us. What do we want? What do we want to do? And our ability to hold people accountable throughout this entire process, not just up to just getting our vote, but making sure they stand on everything that they say, is a win for the people, because I've never seen this before. So my big thing is that I think we should keep this up, no matter what you feel. If you hate everything that's going on, voice it. If you love everything that's going on, voice it. I like people to be more fair and to find common ground within each other. But the more voices that are speaking, the better, because it actually holds our elected officials accountable to doing the things that they have to do. I mean, there's so much information that's coming out every single day, insight on the government, that honestly I never even knew about. I don't think anyone knew about. But because people are trying so hard to dig up information and to make viewpoints and everything, it's keeping everyone engaged and keeping everyone informed. And I think that is a net positive at the end. So this next portion of thoughts, let's talk about some conspiracies. Well, my viewpoint on conspiracies is, I'm not going to say anything bad about conspiracies, because over the last 2 to 3 years, conspiracy theorists have been batting 1,000. So I can't take anything from anyone that has a conspiracy. If you think the government is making weather patterns to build F5 tornadoes to destroy homes, I'm not going to bet against it. I'm really not, because I've heard crazier things that have ended up being true, okay? So y'all won. Y'all got it. So let's entertain some conspiracy theories here. The first thing, let's talk about the big tweet that everyone's going to be talking about where it comes to the Epstein Files in general. So Elon Musk claims that Donald Trump is in the Epstein Files, and that's why he won't release it. Now, here's what I'll say. Do I think he's in the Epstein Files? To a degree, yes, I do, because there's plenty of pictures and videos of them together, so they obviously knew each other. But do I think he's involved in the serious part of the Epstein Files with the whole ring and everything? I don't. And I know that sounds crazy, but again, you got to hear me out on this. I don't, for 2 reasons. Number one, they tried everything in the book to make sure Donald Trump did not run again, along with trying to kill the guy. But they tried so hard to make him not run. So for them to be sitting on these files, because again, they've been sitting on these files for years. So for the Biden administration to be sitting on these files and never release it, I mean, you couldn't crop out a name, a picture, something. if you don't have anything of that nature, like the Biden administration would have been the time to release it, because if he would have released it that with just Trump's information, didn't matter if he released anything else, Trump would have never won. It wouldn't have happened, because that's an egregious act, and I don't think anyone in America would stand for that or even vote for that. So I think regardless, I don't think he's in the files as people think he is. I think that was a complete fluke on Elon's part, and it actually discredits him in that degree. Because again, if he was in there, you best believe the Democratic Party would have definitely released now how they feel about him, how he feel about him now. I mean, you got to think now it's starting to come out, but they created a fake dossier to get him indicted, to get him impeached. You got also, what was it, 35, 37, 40, 55 felonies or whatever he's been indicted on. And they couldn't find a single thing to indict him on the Epstein Files. Seems very unlikely for how hard they tried. So I don't really believe that. And I know that's strange, but I just don't. That doesn't seem right to me. What people are calling 4D chess. So pretty much people are saying that this is all just for theater, and there's a big agenda going on with this. Maybe this is either a push to revise the bill to actually do more cuts. Maybe this is a push to actually release the Epstein Files, because while Trump does want to release it, there's other people in the government that don't want to release it. I think that's interesting. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to tread my words lightly when it comes to the Epstein Files, because, I'm not a big platform and I would like to grow. So I'm not going to say too much. What I will say is there's a lot of other people that are way more braver than me that have talked about this. So I would look into it and get an understanding. And you watch a couple videos, you'll understand that whatever's going on is bigger than just the United States government. This is a world thing that's going on in terms of Epstein Island and the files and everything like that. So I don't necessarily think that it's the people in the government that are holding the Epstein Files back, as strange as that sounds. I actually don't. I think it's more of a world thing, and the pressure's really on the world. I mean, if you've seen Dan Bongino, the deputy FBI, and Kash Patel, if you've seen any of their interviews, I mean, they look like I don't know if I can say this. How can I put this? They look like how I would look if I was held hostage. I will say it like that. So I think it's a little bit bigger than just the government, even though the government is very big. I think this is a lot bigger thing. So I don't think the files are going to come out just over some threats like this. And honestly, I don't know if it will ever come out. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. I hope it does. I really want it to happen, but I'm just not sure. I don't know about that. I guess to address everything else, if you think that this is a front for other things, I wouldn't put it past it. I think there's some logic to it that you fill up the news cycle with a bunch of information. So then the real news that could be coming out pretty soon will go right under the radar, and not a lot of people will be talking to it. I mean, so much stuff going on in the world. You think about Russia, Ukraine, you think about Israel, Gaza, you're thinking about the Iran deal and everything. You don't know what's going to happen from day to day. And also, plenty of other things with tariffs and things like that. So with everything going on, there is a flooding of the zone of news information that are going out to where you can't stick on one thing from day to day, because a new thing is coming out every single day. So it's very hard to keep up. But in doing that, there's a lot of serious news that can come out that will go right under the radar, and you wouldn't even notice because you're too focused on other things, right? That's always been a thing. That's been a thing through history. If you ever studied the Roman Empire, that was a big thing that they did. But I'm not here to bore you on history lessons. I'm here to give you my opinion. So I think it is possible. However, I don't think it's possible in the sense that these are some mad geniuses that, have this booked out months in advance of everything they're going to talk about. It's possible, but I just don't believe it. I think this just happened. It was a freak accident. There's a lot of bad press that was going on with Elon, so I think he had a lot of incentive to try to distance himself, even though I don't think that's 100% what's going on. Moving on to the next thing. I think the last thing that's important that I would like to address before I cut this has to do with X in general as a platform. I think it's a great platform, but I do want to caution you guys. You got to look out for these political accounts that create all these videos that have no face, no ID, no nothing, because a lot of these accounts are actually bot accounts. I want to make that clear. Great example for you. Whenever the big issue with Chinese tariffs was going on and the US put 145% tariff on China and they pretty much stalled all the trade that was going on. I don't know if you noticed, but I definitely noticed there was a lot of Chinese X accounts that suddenly became famous overnight. And all of them were spewing propaganda against the United States, saying we're not going to win this trade war. We're going to go broke. China already found new deals. They're trading with everyone else. They're shipping everything to the EU, all that stuff, right? But the most important thing, and this is why I think this is a bot, is that you didn't know their faces. They had very generic names. And as soon as the tariffs ended up pausing, all those accounts disappeared. Immediately disappeared. Never seen them again. Maybe they still have their followers. I don't know. But somehow they don't exist anymore. I want you guys to be worried about that, because X is a great account. There's a lot of real people there that give you on-the-spot news that's better than the mainstream news. However, don't fall for every single account and every single piece of information that you find on there, because a lot of that is to stir propaganda. I guarantee it. That's my conspiracy theory. I believe a lot of these X accounts aren't real people and they're bots that are paid for to go and push their narratives of what they think, or try to force you to think about how you should feel about a certain thing to put pressure on people. But I talked long enough. That's enough here. Again, this is not a political channel, and I don't really plan on to really give you an update for this. Now, if you guys would like to, and there's a lot of people who want to hear my thoughts on this going forward, I don't mind doing this, but I do want to make it clear, like, we talk about sports, we talk about society, like pop culture and stuff, and then we just talk about our lives in terms of social events and things that we're doing and traveling and stuff. And I'm going to keep it like that. Now, if you want this on the side, I don't mind giving it to you. You guys let me know down in the comments, but don't expect this to be a reoccurring thing to where now we're just a political channel giving our thoughts. That's not going to happen, to be honest with you. But other than that, I definitely want to let your thoughts be heard. It's not every day I talk about politics, so I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm definitely going to be very active on it. And I don't even mind making a response video if you guys have a lot of very interesting things to say. So keep that in mind. I'll definitely shout you out for it. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, check out all of our other content. And of course, I'm going to see you in the next video.